Alright, 2 videos in one day, let's knock it out. Today we're talking about 8 oud fragrances, at least my top 8. I don't have very many, so it's just 8 with one honorable mention. Thank you guys again for tuning in. My name is Ash, welcome to the channel. And if it's your first time on the channel, don't forget to subscribe if you like fragrances. And tap that bell if you want to be notified of any future content that I release. So let's get right into it. My honorable mention is a fragrance that contains oud. It's not the most prominent note. It actually is a rose-based fragrance with tons of different rose ingredients in here. Very natural. Actually, this is 100% natural fragrance, mostly dominant in rose, and it does have a little oud. This is from the house of Matriarch, and it's called Kazimi. This is very powerful, especially when you first spray it, and to me, this is a dreamy fragrance. It is just completely out of this world. I can't even do this fragrance justice, but I'm gonna try someday to do a full review on this. So although this is extremely strong when you first spray it, it's a bit earthy, spicy, a little dirty when it opens up, and very rosy. It's a little bit funky, alright? So although it is like that when you first spray it, when you let it sit for a while, it does settle down rather quickly and become much smoother, a bit cleaner, not so dirty, and just a very refined, elegant, very masculine rose fragrance that can also be worn by ladies rather easily. This is a very compelling fragrance, so it's very unique, and it's going to be completely different than a lot of things that you're used to. So if you're ready for something different, something next level, give Kazimi a try. Now, number 8 on my list is a fragrance that almost killed me when I sprayed it recently. I'm just going to show you what it is. It's from Montale. You probably never hear about this Montale, but it's called Aromatic Lime. This was my very first blind buy niche fragrance. Basically, you're going to get a very smoky and bitter oud, which literally punches the heck out of your face when you first spray it. It's so potent and strong. Within about an hour or so, it does smooth out quite a bit, and that lime has been gradually kicking in, and within that hour mark, you start to notice the sour aspect, a kind of lime, but it is still very smoky and dark, woody, a bit bitter too. Is it worth the try? I'm going to tell you, for most people, they're not going to like this, but really I kind of don't want to let anyone be around me when I'm wearing that one. Now, number 7 on the list is a Mancera fragrance. So quite a few people know about this fragrance here. So this fragrance is from Mancera, and it's called Oud Vanille. And guys, you're getting a pretty strong oud mixed with vanilla. That's pretty much it. I would say that the oud is a bit more dominant in the opening. The vanilla is kind of there, but it's being overtaken by the oud. And then as it sits on the skin, the oud does mellow out a bit, and the vanilla starts to become more noticeable. The oud stays for the life of this fragrance. It's not going to disappear. So the number 6 fragrance on this list is from Maison Kurkdjian. This is Oud. Just oud. Personally, I think this is one of the best oud fragrances ever, in the sense that it's a good entry-level oud that is also very exotic, and it has a modern appeal to it. It's literally like you get the best of all 3 worlds. To me, this is a fragrance that is both feminine and masculine. It is a bit of a traditional style oud, but it's not very funky at all. It's actually very, very smooth. I'm surprised a lot of people don't really talk about this one. It's actually a very, very good fragrance. It's a rose oud fragrance, but very balanced. Not too much on the rose or the oud. The rose is noticeable, the oud is there, and it's very smooth. Overall, it just blends together to make a very exotic and appealing fragrance. Now, number 5 on the list is, this is a strange one for me. I just have a little decant of it here, and this one literally takes me back to my childhood. It just reminds me of my culture and Middle Eastern culture. This is a Montale fragrance, and one that I hear almost no one talking about. I want to say this is a slightly medicinal, slightly funky kind of oud. It's also a bit powdery and kind of clean. To be honest, it's a little bit strange why I put this fragrance this high up on the list, because it's not something I would wear very often. It is a bit polarizing. To me, this is kind of a clean, powdery oud, but it's still a little bit funky, just a little bit. It's, you know, rather woody. It's not very sweet at all. Very traditional style. Kind of smells almost a little musky too. It takes me back to like the traditional style fragrances of the Middle East that I don't have a lot of experiences with, but it just reminds me of that. So this is white oud. I know you can't see the label on this, but it's just a decant from Fragrance Net. I actually wanted to get the 50 ml of this, but I realized after getting this is probably gonna last me a lifetime. Personally, it reminds me of a prince or a princess. I mean, it's very appealing to me and exotic. It's very much exotic. Speaking of which, almost all the same things apply to this next fragrance here, which is also from Montale. And this is Red Aoud, another decant. Very similar to the last one in the sense that it is a very exotic type of oud scent, but quite a bit sweeter. It's also extremely powerful. Like if you get this one on your clothes, I mean, it could be on those clothes for months. If you don't wash them, they can probably be on there for months. Like people know about how strong this fragrance is. Not saying that's usually how long I go without washing, but it's just a much sweeter version of that white oud, and, you know, kind of similar, not as powdery, just more sweet and spicy. Something about it is just very alluring. Now at the number 3 spot, you're gonna notice a little trend with these next 3 fragrances. They all kind of have a similar shape, oddly. This one is an oud fragrance that I hear very few people talk about, and this is actually one of the very first, if not the first oud fragrance that I picked up. Well, besides the Aromatic line, but that was a blind buy. This one I had tried before I bought it, and it was technically the first oud fragrance that I purchased. And this is from Thameen. It's called Carved Oud. This is not a playful fragrance. It is somewhat elegant. It's a bit strange, you know. It does sit a little bit closer to the skin. It doesn't have a strong or loud projection, but it has a good projection at a short range. To me, it's a very raw, woody, earthy oud fragrance. It's smooth, it's a bit creamy, barely sweet, it's like nutty. That's pretty much it. However, it does retain a mysterious and kind of dark aura to it. Something about it to me is this is a sexy fragrance. Leaning a little bit more on the masculine side, but I think girls can pull this off. The number 2 oud fragrance I have, again, keep in mind I have not tried every oud fragrance out there. Don't have a lot of oud fragrances. It's really not my favorite note that I go for. If I had oud satin mood, that would definitely be in this list. I actually was not a fan of it at first. So my number 2 spot is from MFK as well. And this is Oud Silk Mood. Guys. Now, shout out to MrZayas. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description box, but this is how I first found out about this fragrance. Oud Silk Mood and Oud by MFK are rather simple in structure, but they get the job done well. Again, this is a smooth oud that is just a little bit bitter and rather woody, especially in the opening, but as it sits on the skin, it does become much cleaner and smoother. It's not sweet to me at all. I mean, it does lean a little bit more on the masculine side. I don't really see many girls wanting to wear this. To me, it's not the most outright sexy fragrance, but I do think it is sexy. It's more on the elegant side. This is something you could pull off in an office or work setting, professional, dressed up. This will work very, very well for that. It will definitely make you stand out. Just smells like a boss. Very, very classy. Now guys, I hate to bust your bubble, but I'm not gonna go into a whole lot of detail on this fragrance here. It is a newer acquisition for me. I've had some testing with it, but I can tell you hands down, this is my favorite oud fragrance to date, and it's actually my favorite fragrance of all time at this moment. Words cannot do this fragrance justice. This is from Fragrance du Bois. It's called Oud Bleu Intense. This is, I almost want to cry when I smell this because of how good it smells. I'm not even kidding you. This is a refreshing, slightly aquatic, to my nose, floral oud fragrance. A little bit fruity and a little sweet. Something about it is a little bit clean. It's not a funky oud fragrance whatsoever. This is a smooth, natural oud that's in here. It is quite a bit complex. This fragrance just blows my mind. Alright. Blows it into bits and pieces. The best. My favorite fragrance to date and my number one oud fragrance on this list. So what's your favorite oud fragrance? Let me know in the comment box below. Definitely feel free to share this video with anyone that you think can benefit from it. Feel free to give me a like if you like the video. It really helps out. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you tap that bell, you'll be notified of any future videos that I release. Thanks again everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon, alright? I'll talk to you later.